You require 18.
And so double 9 now. Instead, he elects to split, but he misses the big number. And now it is a case of 1-1-1.
16.
And he's put himself in a whole
Steve,
lot of
you
mess.
require 50.
And maybe now a whole heap of trouble. Brown, 50 remaining. Wanting tops for the match.
$10.
But he spurned his opportunity.
James, you require 2.
We've all been here, haven't we? Double 1 to win a match.
Game shot,
and
match.
James Richardson gets over the line by hook and by crook, by 4 legs to 3. Steve Brown, it was an improved performance, but it's a defeat for him. James Richardson gets out the mark quite well. 88.5 the overall average in the end. 4 out of 16, 25% when it comes to the finishing. And so Richardson on the board, picking up our first points of the afternoon session. Coming up after the break is a first appearance of the week for the Hammer. Andy Hamilton takes on David Schlicking next. 4-0.
David, you require 18.
Double 9 for Schlicking for the win.
Game
Double
shot,
9 found, and
David
Andy Hamilton
Schlicking
had a huge advantage in the opening leg, but it's that man who can celebrate the win. Did you enjoy that, David? That was a 4-0 victory against a former world finalist. He's got every single right to enjoy it. Schlicking, a 4-0 victor. 4 out of 10 when it came to the finish, and the scoring power wasn't quite there from the pair. They're both going to have to sharpen up on that as the afternoon develops. But coming up after the break, Scott Taylor takes on Yano Bottenberg.
Yano, you require 60. $40.
In a leg, he was 7
Scott, you
into the
require
9
72.
data. He might end up losing it.
Game shot on the first leg, Scott Taylor.
And Scott Taylor has already been on the receiving end of a 9 data in this series.
One more in hand.
Game shot,
He had
under
3
match,
to win it. He
Scott
needed
Taylor.
all 3. He got there in the end. A very good, high-quality performance there from both players. Yano Bottenberg will feel unfortunate going down in that one 4-2, considering the fact he managed to hit 4 180s. Goes down Scott Taylor, the group favourite. Kicks off his campaign with 2 points and a performance that will make people take notice. Coming up next, got Steve Brown taking on Andy Hamilton.
Andy, you require 66.
He didn't get many darts at a double in his opening game. It was these sort of setup shots that cost him.
Game shot on the second leg.
It's all kind of a
Steve, you
fair.
require 88.
It's 2 at double 14. Can he kiss it off the barrel? Yes,
shot,
is the
under match,
answer.
Steve
It's
Brown.
a sigh of relief from Steve Brown as he gets on the right side of the 4-3 equation this time around. He gets the better of Andy Hamilton in the last leg decider, and look at the relief. He's darting with joy. He's dancing with joy. Steve Brown, a 4-3 victor against Andy Hamilton. An 81 average, 4 out of 8 when it came to the finish. That was ultimately all told where the game hinged. Hamilton, as you can see there, missing 10 at a double. Coming up after the break is Bottenberg against Richardson. This could be max aplenty.
Favourite double.
Yano, you require 20.
Because it's one he's been very successful on.
But he's chasing 5s
Game
now,
shot, under match,
and that's as
Yano
much of a friend as it
Bottenberg.
was to the 10s. And Yano Bottenberg gets his first win of the group, getting the better of James Richardson by 4 legs to 3. A nice mark of respect from the pair in the end. But Bottenberg getting over the line, an average bang on the nose as far as 90 is concerned. 3 maxims, that makes it 7 for the day so far. 4 out of 13 on the finishing. He beats Richardson in a decider. Next up, David Schlicking against Scott Taylor.
This would hurt. And that is a beautiful dart from Scott Taylor.
114.
Nearly a bit of a steal
David,
there,
you
but
require
there's plenty
84.
of work to be done here from David Schlicking. He has just been warned.
Double 11.
Game shot on
Needed
the
to
third
find
leg.
it. Does
David
find
Schlicking.
it. He's back in the game at 2-1. But Shu's been trying to break the Taylor throw in this game, having been broken early on.
142.
But that's a setup. Tots after 12, this time for the German.
Just reminding Scott Taylor he's not going to have everything his own way.
58. David, you require 40. Game shot on the fifth leg.
And
David
13
Schlicking.
data there from David Schlicking
5.
to beat
David, you
Scott
require
Taylor.
10.
Up for double 5.
Game
In
shot
the
on
double
the match,
5.
David
And it is
Schlicking.
another win for David Schlicking. He's 2 from 2 so far. And it's another little bit of a jig and a celebration. There we go. There's the relief. Was that a bit of a Ronaldo Sue there from Schlicking? Well, there's another reaction to the cameras. It's a 4-3 victory against Scott Taylor. 90.78 the overall average. 4 out of 7 when it came to the finishing. Schlicking beats Taylor by 4 legs to 3. The action continues shortly. For
Yano,
fastest
you require
pits. We'll talk about that in a bit of a
116.
second. Bottenberg, 116 for a 2-0 lead. Double 18.
Game shot on
Is
the second
found,
leg.
and
Yano
Bottenberg
Bottenberg.
2-0 up.
Just allowed himself to set himself up for a double that he would prefer to throw at.
180. Yano, you require
For
32.
the match, for the win. Double 8
Game shot on the
seals
match.
the job
Yano
for Yano
Bottenberg.
Bottenberg. A 4-2 victory.
Just allowed himself to set himself up for a double that he would prefer to throw at.
180. Yano, you require
For
32.
the match, for the win. Double 8
Game shot on the
seals
match.
the job
Yano
for Yano
Bottenberg.
Bottenberg. A 4-2 victory against Steve Brown. That puts him temporarily into second place, having won his second game from 3. Yano Bottenberg with another impressive performance, 85 the average. A 116 checkout kind of changed the flow and tide of the game. He beat Steve Brown by 4 legs to 2. Next up is Hamilton against
Scott Taylor must have been thinking,
100.
why always
Scott,
me?
you require 60.
the Mario Balotelli thoughts. Will it be a fireworks finish?
Game shot on the
2-0
second leg.
Scott Taylor leads. It sank to the shoulders for just a second, but he would have looked up and seen the end score and thought that he's in business. And he kicks off with a max to really pile it upon Hamilton now.
And
83.
again, he'll be frustrated after finding a treble with the opening dart to only walk off with an 83. But this is good from
121.
Scott Taylor. In fact, this is brilliant. 5 trebles from the 6 darts he's thrown so far. He's forcing Andy Hamilton to need a maximum on his throw.
Well, he levelled the question at Scott Taylor in the last leg, and he's answering
58.
those quite emphatically, and now has 6 darts on 200 to complete a 4-3 win. Oh, this is superb.
180.
2 maximums in a deciding leg. He's on for a 10 darter in leg 7 of 7. What a march towards
40.
the line for Scott
Scott, you
Taylor.
require
Double 10
20.
for a 10.
10.
But the job's not done yet.
Plenty of time in his hands. That's just one of those things where you just end up busting the average a little bit. Brings him below the ton mark that he would have got if he would have hit that double 10. But that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters here is the points.
59.
He's going to have lots of
Scott, you
opportunity to
require
get them.
10.
Straight up for it.
Game
And
shot
straight
on the
in,
match.
and Scott
Scott
Taylor
Taylor
secures the win by 4 legs to 3 in a game that ebbed and flowed, but it is Scott who comes out victorious, beating the hammer by 4 legs to 3. It condemns Hamilton to the bottom of the table, having lost each of his opening 3 matches. That's the tail of the tape. An impressive performance. 97.4 is as good as we've seen all day. 4 from 11 on the finishing, 3 maximums to boot. Scott Taylor beats Andy Hamilton 4-3. Coming up after the break, James Richardson against David Schlicking.
Chance to break the throw. Will only be the 1 dart at tops.
Game
and that
shot
is
on the
all
third
he
leg.
needs.
David Schlicking.
He's really growing into this.
45.
He can't find one, and
David,
so
you require
Schlicking has 6
106.
and 106 to send us to a decider once again.
Just taking an extra bit of time over this one, trying to make sure of the outcome.
Game shot on the sick leg. David Schlicking.
Fantastic finish from David Schlicking. 106 the checkout. An outside chance for Richardson has come and gone. So David Schlicking to be top of the table by points after
88.
3 laps of fixtures.
David, you require 40.
Richardson can only watch in the background as Schlicking comes back for 10s to win the
shot
game.
And the match.
And
David
that's a
Schlicking.
third win in a row. It's a hat-trick for the German, and it's another little celebration in front of the cameras. This time, a little bit of a bow, a little bit of a prayer, maybe a little bit of a thank you to that double 10. That has won him the game. His third game. No one can touch him at the minute. Schlicking is doing the winning tings here at the Super Series. He beats Richardson 4-3. Next up, Bottenberg against Hamilton kicks off.
Andy, you require 108.
Already getting the break. He's looking to hold here if he can find the 108. Will stay there. Had to move across to find a route to the trouble there. And so that leaves him one dart in his hand. A double 16
shot on the
pins the
second
double
leg,
16
Andy
to lead 2-0. Clinical from the hammer with his opponent sat on the double. Brown
David, you
on a
require
finish, but it is a
51.
big one. 51 for Schlicking for 2-1. And it's double 16
Game shot on the third
to put
leg.
himself
David
back in front.
Schlicking.
17 dart leg to re-establish that advantage. So it is
Steve, you
Hail
require
Mary
97.
time for Steve Brown as he goes for tops.
Game shot
to
on the
save
fifth
the
leg.
game.
Steve Brown.
8 points.
David, you require 40. Game shot and the match. David Schlicking.
David Schlicking completes the job in the end. Steve Brown played his part. He gave David Schlicking plenty to think about the 97 finish, but it's a finger wag from David Schlicking. Game played in really good spirits, but the biggest story of them all is David Schlicking is still unbeaten, and he opens up a gap at the top of the table. Scott Taylor comes up next against James Richardson.
Scott, you require 88.
18. Double 18 leads double 16.
Game shot on the first leg.
For 1-0
Scott
lead.
Taylor. Scott,
It's
you require
delightful. It leaves him on double
133.
8. Oh, another one of them. Oh,
Game shot on the fourth leg. Scott
That
Taylor.
is absolutely super. So for the match, Scott Taylor, double 18. To seal a 4-2 victory, which would put him on to
Game
6
shot
points.
and the match.
And that
Scott
is exactly
Taylor.
what he does with some style and some substance. A real solid performance. 4 out of 6 on the doubles. An average over 93.5. James Richardson exits stage left with a bit of work to do. That's now just 1 win from 4. As for Scott Taylor, the 1-3-3, the highlight. He beats Richardson 4-2. Next up, David Schlicking against Yano.
Yano, you require
Bottenberg
104.
104 for the break. Goes to 16's route. Because that leaves him
Game
tops.
shot on the third
and that
leg.
puts him
Yano
2-1 up.
Bottenberg.
And that is a celebration just to say to David Schlicking, you're not going to have it all your own way. In
Yano,
Super
you
Series
require
history
161.
is 65 from Luke Littler. Bottenberg looks for the ball. He gets the
Game
ball.
shot on the
It's a
fourth leg.
1-6-1.
Yano
It's a
Bottenberg.
smirk to the camera. It's a big finish. It's a big celebration. And it could be a big turning point in the group. Go on this
Yano, you
occasion.
require
And so
68.
this for the match and a 4-1 victory, and to condemn Schlicking to his first
Game
defeat
shot
of the
and the
day.
match.
Yano
Yano
Bottenberg
Bottenberg.
with a big win to put him onto 6 points overnight. He's the first player to defeat David Schlicking today, with some big, powerful finishing and some big celebrations to boot. The pair exchange a laugh and a joke at the end, all jovial, all told, and that is the story of the game. 3-ton plus checkouts, a 92 average, and 4 out of 6 on the finishing. Coming up after the break, Richardson against Hamilton.
James, you require 170.
The fish. Preposterous. Possible. Nailed!
Game shot on the fifth leg. James
Reeled in by
Richardson.
Richardson to lead 3-2. Comes back, tops
James
for the
require
match.
40.
Tops to put him on to 4 points after 5 games.
Game shot
And
on the match.
Richardson
James
just hangs
Richardson.
about the equation. He beats Andy Hamilton by 4 legs to 2, just to keep him in with a sniff overnight. 2 wins from 5 in his day. Work for both to do tomorrow, in particular Andy Hamilton. Richardson getting over the line with an average just under 93.5. 4 out of 8 on the doubles, but the highlight was Richardson reeling the fish in. One more game to go. It's Steve Brown against Scott Taylor, and that's coming up after this short break. For
Steve, you require
the hurricane
147.
finish, the whirlwind finish, the 147. He's potted the red, he's potted the green, and
Game
he
shot
has
on the first
found
leg.
the
Steve
double
Brown.
for the crucible finish. A 147 for Steve Brown to take the first leg off of Scott Taylor. Or can
Scott, you require 136.
Taylor finish off with a stunner? Another one of them leaves double 8.
120.
And that would have been some
Steve, you
way to
require
seal
60.
the job. Tops are Brown. Taylor's
Game
head is
shot
in his
on the
hands,
match.
and rightly
Steve
so,
Brown.
because Steve Brown has sealed a 4-3 victory against Scott Taylor to keep him locked on 6 points and to keep everybody in the race for qualification. Yes, David Schlicking will be top of the pile, but Scott Taylor has been kept at bay. Pretty much everybody's in the mix after the end of day 1, and Scott Taylor, despite an average of 104.2, has been down 4-3 by Steve Brown with that 147 finish and 4 out of 6 when it came to the finishing. And so Brown, the victor in our final game of the day by 4 legs to 3.
Yeah, good win for Steve Brown to end the day. Potentially damaging for Scott Taylor, but first of all, what a fun day it's been.
It has. It's been a really good day, and it's been sort of to and fro. There's sort of been no real person that sort of kicked on and looked like they're going to run away with this. In terms of the standard, Scott Taylor has been playing incredible throughout the day, and I'd probably say he's been quite harshly treated in terms of the results that he's come out with. When we look at dart players, we'll know them. There'll be players there that think that they always run into someone's best performance. Today, Scott Taylor actually has.
Yeah, the results there don't really tell the story for him. David Schlicking, you'll have seen his name was in yellow for the first 4 there, but finally just lost his last match.
Yeah, much improved performance as well today from David Schlicking, and he just looked a lot more calm and collected with what he was doing. I don't know whether he was chasing in Group A, sort of came a little bit behind, but even his antics on stage and just the way he sort of, his whole demeanour, he just seems so much more at home on there, and it's coming through in the results.
Yeah, he got that brilliant start against Andy Hamilton, the 4-0 there, and then a fantastic display against Scott Taylor, who was the favourite for this group. Schlicking had been 3-1 down in this match, so showed a bit of fight and character as well as a style that we've become accustomed to.
And it's great to sort of see this coming through and learn. It's quite often we forget, and I think we forget due to the fact that Luke Littler's won this title twice at 16 years old, that when a player's 20, 21 years old, that's still very young in terms of the darting scene. That's why the development tour goes to the age it does, rightly or wrongly, or what people agree with or don't. But that's because there still are developing players at that age, considering that this sport traditionally is played by the older man. It's becoming a younger man's game now, and we're seeing sort of a nice blossoming here of David Schlicking.
Yeah, and he had a great game with Steve Brown as well. I mean, we've mentioned the way that David has been turning on the style. Steve Brown gave a bit of style himself here, a bit of swagger.
I love that. And we sort of saw it come from all the players, and it was against David. I think there's a bit of, and knowing how sort of practice room etiquette is, I think there's a little bit of something going on in that practice room where they're sort of giving him a little bit of banter, and it's coming through on the stage as well now, but coming through in sort of a well-controlled and channeled way, in the fact that actually we're getting really good darts off the back of it.
Yeah, we've also seen a real rally of big finishers towards the back end of the day. It all started with Scott Taylor and a fabulous 1-3-3 checkout. Now, just for viewers that were maybe listening but not looking, that is Scott Taylor, not Scott Mitchell. But yeah, a fantastic finish from him. Double-double to take it out.
Some way to go as well, isn't it? It's not the traditional 1-3-3. Double 19. Players avoid that traditionally. They split that. Scott Taylor decided to hit 2 of them. So really intriguing finish, and wasn't the best of them all.
Right, we take his 1-3-3, and we will raise it to a 1-6-1 from Yano Bottenberg. Again, look who he's playing, so look what he does.
And this was a game in which Yano Bottenberg didn't just hit this 1-6-1, he also took out a 103 and a 104 as well. So 3 big tumblers finishes in that game, and it was the only game in which David Schlicking was beaten today. So it really kept things alive. So it wasn't just a nice big flash finish that we all can sit and go, oh, that was lovely. It was actually very important as well in the context of this group.
And you're all sitting there thinking, well, I'm not quite satisfied yet. I've had the 1-3-3, I've had the 1-6-1. What else is there? Well, there was a 170. James Richardson with a fantastic big fish finish. And this was a significant win for him, wasn't it? It really might have just sparked something ahead of tomorrow.
Well, it keeps him alive. It keeps him with an opportunity. The last thing you want to do is come in here feeling like you've got to win 5 matches and still hope for favours. You want to be able to keep it in your destiny and know that if you win all 5 games, you're likely to go through. He's got that now where it's still kind of in his own hands, because if you set yourself like a tournament points average of 14, you're more than likely to go through. He's got that in his own hands. If he wins 5 from 5 tomorrow, 14 points should be enough.
Yeah, well, let's show you the table, because it was looking like it was going one way today, with potentially Schlicking and then Taylor kind of being in his slipstream. But suddenly it's all closed up at the end of the day with those final results. Taylor and Bottenberg just 2 points off the top. So it means Schlicking's not safe, and Richardson and Brown maybe still in contention as well.
If you asked me at the start of the day to make an example of what the table would look like at the end of the day, it'd be that. I would just probably move some names around and put names in different places. And then if you asked me to do it again, I'd still keep the points the same, but I'd just put players in different places. So I think in terms of the points, it's exactly how I expected to see, where everyone's still kind of got a bit of an opportunity. It's just what order the players are in. And David Schlicking, I think, has got a massive advantage here, because there are 2 places available. And I think with this group, as we've seen with them all beating each other, he's got a massive advantage going into tomorrow.
We will see when it returns tomorrow, same time as today, 1 p.m. start on the Motor Super Series YouTube channel, 3 p.m. on Sporty Stuff TV. And we're also back tonight, 10 p.m. for the start of Group B. We're going to show you the players in that group, right in the middle of your screen there. David Davis, Kevin Edwards, Matthew Dennant, Lee Cox and Tom Lonsdale. Of course, Reece Robinson already through to finals night. He won Group A. But what are your thoughts on that Group B?
I think it's open. I think there's an opportunity for everyone there. I think Matt Dennant's going to be one of the 3, if not the player that's going to top that group. If there's someone who's going to dominate that, it's Matt Dennant. He's got the quality and the experience and the best CV out of all the players in the group. I think the rest of them are going to be playing for places, and I think that it's going to be quite open. I think we could see any of the 2 go through with Matt Dennant out of the rest of the 4.
Could it be as fun as we've seen this afternoon?
I hope so.
We hope so as well, and we hope you join us for some more darting fun this evening. As I mentioned, we are live from 10 p.m. on both the Motor Super Series YouTube channel for viewers around the world, and in the UK, viewers on Sporty Stuff TV. So